Hey guys, so this is going to be for checkup 9.2.2. This is all about chords and circles. I actually think well, I don't know if it's harder exactly, but the quiz is super easy on this section. Over here in red, I've included some definitions that may help you while you're doing the quiz. There's like 3 questions that are definition based, that are true or false, or what's the answer. So a chord of a circle is any line segment whose endpoints are on the circle. So I have this circle down here, which you can see. A chord, if I'm going to draw it, okay, is any line where I start on one end, or it won't let me draw for a second. Let's try this again. Where I start on one end and I end on the other end. Terrible job there, but hopefully you kind of get the idea. Oh, I erased my whole circle. So you have a circle, and a chord will just be any line segment from one end to the other. Oh, I guess I didn't change off my eraser. Alrighty. Anyway, we'll move on from this. So it's just from one end to the other. It doesn't matter where it is in the circle. It just has to go from one end to the other. And 2 congruent chords are equal distance from the center. And we're actually going to see that more in like some of the later questions in like 7 or 8, 9, and 10, something like that. If 2 chords are equal distance from the center of the circle, they're the same size. Okay? So these first questions here ask you for the diameters. Your quiz really isn't on diameters, but just to refresh, diameters are lines that cut through the center of a circle, and that's what makes them different. So we're looking at a chord at number 1. You see this HW? This HW here is a diameter because it's cutting through the center of the circle. It's also a chord in a sense because the endpoints are on the edges of the circle, but it's a more specific kind of chord. A normal chord could be something like this HF over here. You see how they are touching both ends, H and F are on the edge of the circle, but it's clearly not a diameter. Okay? Same with this FW up here, right? I should have picked a better color. F and W are both on the edges of the circle, but they're not cutting through the middle, so they're not a diameter. So the diameter here we have HW. The other one would be whatever that is, ZF. Okay, so go ahead and try out number 2. You're just looking for the diameters. You don't need to worry about chords just yet. Anything that goes from one side to the other side, so A to Z, you're cutting that circle in half. Okay? Now, your next set about your circles, it's pretty easy, hopefully. You see number 3, the segment shown below is a radius. The radius, so you have A to the side. Radius is half of the length of the diameter. So diameter will equal 2 times radius. Hopefully you kind of remember that. So it says, what is the length of the diameter of the circle? Well, we see our radius is 4.7. Just multiply that by 2. Okay, double it and you'll get your answer. You're going to do the same thing for number 4. Number 5, this time you're given the diameter. You want to go back to the radius, so you got to cut that in half. So you could divide by 2 in that one. These questions you probably, unfortunately, because they're really easy, won't see on your quiz, but a nice review of radius and diameter's relationship to each other. Okay. So, the thing you need to know here, it says if the dotted line segment, so that's that AD dotted line, is a radius of circle A, CB is perpendicular to AD, and CD is 3, what is the length of CB? So you see this 3 over here? Basically what we know is that if a chord is cut by a radius, it's split evenly. So if this side is 3, this side would also be 3. There's a balance there. And hopefully you can do 3 plus 3 or 3 times 2. You get CB equal to 6. This is the same idea. You just have to make sure you draw in. So YW, so Y to W, you'd have the 4.5 over there. Sorry, that's terrible, but it would go on the other side and multiply by 2, or add them together twice. This part, our last part, is actually the majority of what your quiz is, and I was going through and I was actually surprised at just how many iterations of this question there are and how easy it was. Okay? So it says, what is the length of B to C? So you want this length over here. Well, we actually, what we see here, right, these 7.1s, these 7.1s mean that these two chords are equal distant from the center. And if we go back up to one of our first definitions, two chords are equal distance from the center of the circle. So if you're equidistant from the center of the circle, you're congruent, which is part of what makes this so ridiculously easy. Is we know C or DE is 12. It's equidistant from the center, so that means BC is also 12, and you're done. That's the whole problem. The chords are equal to each other. Done. And it's crazy how easy it is. If you can do 9, I have no issues there. 10, it's the same idea. What is the length of the dotted? So that's that radius in there. You see these two 14s, they're equal, which means their radiuses should be equal. So if this is 13.5, 13.5. And again, these 3 are most of your quiz, plus a couple definitions. So hopefully you'll feel pretty good. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me on Teams or by email. And I hope you guys are staying safe.